alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my Maktab by LMA with MLX Plus. Inshallah, today we are going to continue on the Sunan of Salah. In today's lesson, we are going to learn about the Sunan of Sajdah. Okay, so what is Sajdah? Sajdah is to prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is Sajdah? To prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so what is the sunnah method of prostrating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Okay, the first one is to recite the takbir when going into sajdah, which is Allahu Akbar. So to recite the takbir when going into sajdah, which is Allahu Akbar, and then to recite the takbir again when coming up from sajdah. To recite the takbir Allahu Akbar when coming up from sajdah. Okay, the second sunan of sajdah is to allow the knees to touch the ground first, to allow the knees to touch the ground first, and then thereafter we have the hands, thereafter we have the nose, and thereafter we have the forehead. Okay, so in this sequence we are following the sunnah method of making sajdah. We must first allow our knees to touch the ground, our hands, our nose, and our forehead. Okay, and the third action that is sunan in our sajdah is to reverse the method of going into sajdah. So what happens is when we coming up from sajdah, we first lift our forehead. We first lift our forehead, then our nose, then our hands, and then our knees. Okay, so when we are coming up from sajdah, while saying Allahu Akbar, we first lift our forehead, then our nose, our hands, and then our knees. Okay, the next sunan of sajdah is that we should place our hands flat on the ground with our fingers closed facing the Qibla. Okay, so our hands should be placed on the ground facing the Qibla with our fingers closed. Our hands should be flat on the ground facing the Qibla with our fingers closed, and in between our hands should rest our forehead. Okay, so in between our hands should rest our forehead. Okay, so our forehead should rest in between our hands. Okay, in the fifth sunan of sajdah, we are going to learn about the tasbih. What do we read in sajdah? Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. What do we read in our sajdah? Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Glory be to Allah the Most High. Okay, glory be to Allah the Most High. Now, this is the part where it's different for males and females. For the males, their stomach should not touch their thighs. Okay, so their stomach should not touch their thighs when making sajdah. Okay, their stomach should not touch their thighs when making sajdah, just like we have in the picture here. So if you look clearly, the stomach is not touching the thighs. Okay, and their forearms should not touch the ground. Their forearms should not touch the ground. Okay, so just like in the picture again, their forearms are lifted upwards, it's not touching the ground. Okay, thereafter for the females, it's going to be the opposite method, the opposite way. It's going to be the opposite method, whereas the stomach will touch the thighs. The stomach will touch the thighs. It will be close next to the thighs, and the forearms will touch the ground. The forearms will touch the ground. So why is it different from the males? The females are doing it in this manner, so to observe hijab. The females, the stomach will touch the thighs, it will be close next to each other, and the forearms will touch the ground to observe hijab, which is different from the males, okay? So in this episode, we have learned about the Sunan of Sajdah, which is to prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to read the takbir when going into Sajdah and coming up from Sajdah, which is Allahu Akbar. Then we allow the knees to touch the ground, then the hands, nose, and forehead. When coming up from Sajdah, we first lift the forehead, the nose, the hands, and the knees. Then we also have to put our hands on the ground, flat on the ground, facing the Qibla, with our fingers closed, and our forehead must rest between our hands. Then we have to read the tasbih, Subhan Rabbiyal A'la, thrice. For the males, their stomach should not touch their thighs when in sajda, and their forearms should not touch the ground. For females, their stomach will touch the thighs, it will be close next to each other, and their forearms will touch the ground to observe hijab. That is all for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am using the Kitab Fiqhul Islam Diniyat Book 4, which is also available online from the Lenasia Muslim Association.